While the rest of the Formula One world is focused on the RB20's dominance and the Suzuka qualifying sessions, a much quieter, more significant shift is happening inside the Aston Martin hospitality suite. It's not about a new front wing or a floor update. It's about a man who has spent 40 years winning, and 4 months realizing that winning in 2026 requires a different kind of architecture. As of today, March 28, 2026, Adrian Newey, the most successful designer in the history of the sport, is reportedly preparing to step down as team principal of Aston Martin. To the casual observer, this looks like a failure. To those who understand the Newey method, it looks like an emergency surgery. The rumors swirling through the Suzuka paddock suggest that Newey is vacating the principal's chair to return to the only place he has ever truly wanted to be, the drawing board. And he isn't doing it alone. He has identified the one man who can handle the politics, while he handles the physics, Jonathan Wheatley. The timing of this move isn't accidental. We are 3 races into the 2026 season, and for Aston Martin, the dream partnership with Honda has started as a nightmare. In Melbourne, Newey did something we almost never see from a senior technical figure. He held a press conference that was described as extraordinary. He didn't talk about downforce. He talked about human biology. He revealed that the Honda power unit is suffering from vibrations so violent they are physically damaging the battery systems and, more alarmingly, causing nerve damage in Fernando Alonso's hands. When a designer of Newey's caliber goes public with a failure this specific, he isn't complaining. He is building a case. Just like Fred Vasseur at Ferrari, Newey has realized that the 2026 regulations have a trap door, a way out for teams that are struggling. As we discussed with Ferrari's strategy, the FIA's ADUO mechanism is the only lifeline left in a frozen engine era. But while Ferrari is calculating their way into that window, Newey and Aston Martin are bleeding their way into it by publicly documenting the on-drivability of the Honda engine. Newey is ensuring that when the first ADUO evaluation window closes after Monaco, the FIA has no choice but to grant Aston Martin the maximum tier of upgrades, the 4% deficit bracket. This would unlock 30% more test bench hours and 2 mid-season engine redesigns. But Newey has realized something else in these first 4 months. He cannot be the doctor and the hospital administrator at the same time. The report from Motorsport.com Italy suggests that Lawrence Stroll has already made the move to bring in Jonathan Wheatley from Audi to take over the day-to-day running of the team. Wheatley and Newey are the old guard of the Red Bull glory years. They speak the same language. By bringing Wheatley in, Newey is effectively insulating himself from the corporate pressure of the Aston Martin boardroom, allowing him to focus 100% of his cognitive energy on the AMR26 fatal flaw. The integration between the Honda block and the chassis. The situation with Honda is more nuanced than a simple, bad engine. HRC President Koji Watanabe recently hit back at claims of a disaster, suggesting the issues are a misunderstanding of how the hybrid deployment was mapped. But in the wind tunnel at Silverstone, the facility Newey himself called the best in F1, the data is telling a different story. The 2026 cars are energy limited. They are smaller, lighter, and rely on a 50-50 split between internal combustion and electrical power. Newey warned us in 2024 that these rules were scary. Now he is living that fear. The AMR26 is reportedly clipping halfway down the straights, leaving Alonso and Stroll as sitting ducks for the Mercedes and Red Bull Ford-powered cars. Newey's strategy for Suzuka and the upcoming European leg is clear: survival through documentation. He is letting the world see the struggle so that the rules are forced to change in his favor. Is he stepping down? Technically, yes, but in reality he is stepping back to the position where he is most dangerous. He is clearing the deck of administrative meetings and sponsor appearances to lead a skunkworks project within Aston Martin. If Wheatley arrives and Newey returns to the drawing board, the second version of the 2026 Aston Martin, the one triggered by the ADUO window in July, could be the most radical car on the grid. Newey didn't come to Aston Martin to be a CEO. He came to beat the regulations. And as we've seen throughout his career at Williams, McLaren, and Red Bull, the moment everyone thinks Adrian Newey is beaten is exactly when he's found the loophole that changes everything. The next chapter doesn't start on the podium. It starts in the data logs of the FIA's torque sensors. While the paddock processes the news of Jonathan Wheatley's arrival and Adrian Newey's strategic retreat to the design office, A far more aggressive story is hidden inside the Silverstone wind tunnel. There is a reason Newey isn't panicking about the nerve damage, vibrations, or the battery clipping on the straights. It's because the car Fernando Alonso is driving today in Japan is not the car Adrian Newey intended to finish the season with. As of March 28, 2026, internal technical circles suggest that Aston Martin is effectively running a transitional chassis. Behind the scenes, Newey has authorized the development of a B-Spec AMR26, a project so radical it reportedly abandons the current cooling architecture and engine mounting strategy entirely. The problem isn't just that the Honda engine is vibrating, it's that the vibration is a symptom of a fundamental harmonic mismatch. In the 2026 regulations, the split between the internal combustion engine and the 350 kW ERSK is a delicate, high-frequency dance. If the crankshaft and the motor generator unit aren't perfectly synced, you don't just lose power, you create a mechanical earthquake that travels through the carbon fiber tub and into the driver's spine. Newey's second act is centered on a concept the industry is calling decoupled integration. Standard design logic says you bolt the engine directly to the chassis as a stressed member to maximize rigidity. But Newey, working with the technical team at Silverstone, is rumored to be testing a proprietary dampening system that floats the Honda power unit within a subframe. This would be a massive weight penalty under normal rules. But here is where the ADUO mechanism changes the math. By qualifying for the 4% performance deficit bracket, the highest tier of FIA assistance, Aston Martin doesn't just get to fix the engine. They receive a reduction in their power unit cost cap and a massive 30% increase in test bench hours. This is the financial and technical loophole Newey needs. He is cashing in the performance deficit of March to pay for a total redesign in July. But there is a second, even more secretive part of the Newey plan. It involves the Z-mode active aerodynamics. The 2026 cars rely on movable wings to reduce drag on the straights. However, early data from Suzuka shows that the Aston Martin is hunting. The wings are oscillating between high and low drag modes, because the Honda engine cannot provide a consistent torque curve to satisfy the aero sensors. It's a software nightmare. Newey's return to the drawing board is specifically to rewrite the aerodynamic brain of the car. He is reportedly moving away from the FIA's standard mapping and developing a predictive algorithm that adjusts the wing angles before the engine loses its electrical boost. This is why the Jonathan Wheatley appointment is the final piece of the puzzle. While Newey is solving the harmonic earthquake and the X-mode oscillation, Wheatley will be the one in the FIA bungalows, arguing the technicalities of the torque sensor data. He is there to ensure that every vibration Alonso feels is documented as a safety concern, making it impossible for the FIA to deny Aston Martin the right to bring an entirely new engine architecture to the Hungarian Grand Prix on July 26. The Newey method has always been about making the car an extension of the rules. In the 1990s it was active suspension. In the 2010s it was blown diffusers. In 2026, it is regulatory arbitrage. Knowing exactly when to fail so that you are legally allowed to rebuild. The Ferrari camp is watching closely. Fred Vasseur knows that if Newey successfully triggers that 4% ADUO tier, Aston Martin will have more development freedom in the second half of 2026 than any other team on the grid. It's a high-stakes gamble. If the B-Spec car fails, Newey's legacy at Aston Martin ends before it truly begins. But if he's right, the AMR26 you see today is just a ghost, a placeholder for a machine that hasn't even hit the track yet. As the sun sets over the Suzuka circuit, the message from the Aston Martin garage is clear: don't look at the lap times, look at the calendar. The real 2026 season begins in Hungary. Subscribe to F1 Perspective. We are tracking every vibration and every sensor log as the Newey masterplan unfolds. Is subscribed to Global Formula Apex. The Newey era at Aston is just beginning, but not in the way you expected.